my EBV notes.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours. I'm doing this just because I know some of you want a little bit more detailed help with your homework. So I'm going to answer questions primarily on this assignment because everybody in the last class got stuck on it, as well as and I'm willing to stay on for as long as we need. We can even go through the next homework assignment, which is the economic model, which has to deal with the revenue drivers. Okay. All right. So what I've already started here is I've started helping Ogwo with his customer buyer's journey. Okay. Don't worry about what you can't fill out. This is kind of hard to do unless you have an example from your competitors and they may not be sharing this information. Okay. The way you acquire customers is proprietary. It can also be a trade secret. Some companies are better at it than others, and that's how that is their competitive advantage. Okay, so fill in what you can, and and don't worry about the rest. Some of this will take a lot more research. Mostly, if you ever get a chance to talk to indirect competitors, they can actually talk you through this. The way I've met indirect competitors is through trade shows, or you can do focus groups. Those are kind of expensive, or bribe your friends, people who are part of your target market, and see if they can answer these questions for you, especially if you're not in business yet. Like I'm thinking specifically of Joshua because he has a physical product. So if he went to some of his welder friends or took it to one of the trade schools and said, can you test my product, give me feedback, and I'm happy to even put on a workshop for your students. Okay. And maybe with, in the back of his mind, maybe even recruiting some of those really good students to be part of his team later after they graduate. All right. And they're already trained with his product. Okay. So let me backtrack. Let's go to Ogwo's venture. Ogwo, do you want to talk about your venture really quick? Just the actual concept about what you want to launch, so that way I can talk about the different stages.
Okay, sure. My venture is about like a hot village. So it's originated from my mom is hypertensive, and I was researching ways to be able to help her manage her illness. So in the process, I learned about heart healthy market. So this is like a business that focusing on snacks, food, all kinds of food that's directly marketing for people with hypertension. But they are only like an online, and they're very good, and they have things like change ownership and stuff like that. So, and then I was thinking like, I ordered from them, and like I said, they were good. And then I was thinking like, why stop at hypertension? Why not increase, incorporate other illnesses and help people out that way. So then I'm looking at like various nutritionals that's going to be targeting, like people with uh, diabetes or people with lactose intolerance or, what have you. So, and then be able like to educate, people what's available for them, and also like how they can be able to manage their illnesses by, eating better.
Okay, good, good. So
the other aspect of it, that I sent to Ms. Gonzalez with regards to the actual store, what's going to be there. It's not just the nutrition, because the idea is going to be like a holistic care to keep people out of hospital.
okay, so just in a nutshell, he's basically starting a retail store with specialty health foods for people who are chronically ill, right? And it's going to be on site in the local area in basically underserved community. So that's what's different about his. So he's going to be both B2C, meaning business to consumer. Oops, sorry. And he's also going to be B2B because and I know there's one person in this class he can talk to, because he needs to curate or bring on board other people who provide these specialty products for the chronically ill. So dietary special people with special dietary needs like gluten-free. So Katerina, I'm thinking specifically of you, as well as diabetes, hypertension, everything else that he's mentioned. So in the awareness stage, that's all you're trying to do is just get people to become aware that you even exist. So at this point, you just want to get the word out. And since he's a local business, a locally owned business, for his market, it's probably best to do things like a low-tech solution, putting flyers in the community center, as well as in condominiums in those communities, in the lobbies, churches, anywhere where people can just physically read your flyers. It's going to be a lot of word of mouth. Okay, and since it's a new venture, basically a new idea or concept in those areas, it should generate a lot of buzz. Okay, so for the consideration stage, this is where you want people to start to decide whether they want to do business with you. So this really depends on your market. Where do they hang out? Are they always on Facebook? Can you target them that way? Or since he's a registered nurse, this all has to do with health and wellness. What really makes sense for him is doing those health fairs, some meetups, and as well as including the social media campaigns, because when you're B2C, that is the fastest way to grow your following, is to offer something. Those social media campaigns where you're trying to get people to follow you, and join forces with somebody else, and give something away. That's how you get you increase your following really quickly. Hold on one second. Let me just tell somebody that we are meeting.
I do have a quick question before you go on.
Oh, good. Shamanda is here. Yes, was that you, Joshua?
Yes. I just wanted to clarify this business that you're starting. Is this like a Meals on Wheels type of thing where you're bringing this to the people, or is it like a storefront?
It's a storefront, right? Ogwell, you're not doing a mobile truck with the food, although you could initially if you can't afford a storefront.
Yeah, it's going to be brick and mortar store, and then also we're looking at online too. But I mean, talking about mobile one, we can look at that too, because I'm thinking about going to races, like Army 10 miler, something like that. Maybe the mobile aspect can be able to work in such a situation,
Yeah.
to go to local races and promote there.
Yeah, you could be like Schwann's, where people have to order ahead of time. Then that way you can control your costs. That was a great question. That was actually very good feedback. Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then for that decision stage, what are things that you can do, Ogwo, at this point to get people to actually buy from you? Okay, so this could be a mobile service type of thing, or a rewards program. Okay, it's basically whatever it takes to move your buyer down your sales funnel. So again, if you're Googling sales, sample sales funnel, and then type in your different industries, because you're competing in more than one. Like Heather is both an educator as well as a consultant. Okay, so she's going to want to piece together her strategy from those different reports. Same thing with Shamanda. She's also event management. So are you, Heather. You could do your own conference. Okay. All right. So that in a nutshell is the buyer's journey for this part. And you just need to know exactly where they're searching. So for Joshua, this is probably where are they researching? So your industry reports, right? Are there Facebook groups, Facebook communities for your
There is, and I've paid a little bit of money to boost some posts that reached all United States, Canada, and Australia,
Very
and
good.
I got a lot of feedback, but I feel like I'm reaching the people that aren't necessarily going to buy this tool. They're working for the people that are going to buy it, and
Okay,
and
how
I
can you get to those decision makers?
well, yeah, that's a great question, but I mean, ideally, it's the expos that
Okay,
that are shut down right now. But um, publications, I guess, would be one. Different magazines geared for oil and gas industry.
okay, very good. Um, I know that our trade shows were moved online, so I'm surprised that they weren't moved online for you as well.
There were. I looked at some that were doing online stuff, uh, and it appeared to me, for me to pay to have that done, I didn't think it was going to benefit me because of how small of a product. Like, I'm just selling one product out there,
Yeah,
and these were like people that are giving services, like your bigger construction companies are letting other people know what they do, and I didn't feel like I would get anywhere with it. Uh, my I really feel the best bet is to physically have that in front of people where they can see it and actually use it.
I, Josh's venture is really unique. What is your website name?
Crazewell.com.
So it's easier if people can see it, but he developed a tool for welders. It's a safety tool. Okay, so this really is like the most unique venture I've seen in the past 6 years, because it's so it's for one group.
Right,
But
it's very niche.
yeah, but he can do very well because it's such a specialty, and that's what other people will tell you, is you can get rich in a niche. Has this been tested by anybody in your market?
I'm working on having it tested by Underwriters Laboratory.
Oh, good. Will they
Um,
give you, well, okay, so they're doing like safety testing. I'm thinking about market testing where people will give you testimonials. That's what you need right now. People
yeah,
posting pictures. Hey, I
I
like
mean,
this.
I've been able to get the little bit that I've sold out into the industry. I've only been able to get one feedback with where they sent pictures of it in use, and you can go scroll down and click on, or sorry, scroll up and then click on the gallery. So these pictures, if you can go pan all the way to the back, it'd be the last couple pictures on there. Those were just taken at my house, like glamour shots, because my wife has a camera.
Oh,
And these are just pictures of that we have in the for sale. But if you keep right there, that was taken in Mackinac City, Michigan, by Enbridge Corporation. They're using this tool to purge out a 30-inch line that they have. It's called pigging operation, where they call it a pig, and it's a cleaning device that they'll send through a pipeline, and it hugs the side of the pipe and shoots out any crap that's in there from whatever point to whatever point. But they use that tool as they open that pipeline up. There's hazardous gases that the workers will encounter, and that was just in use. That was a picture that was given back as feedback.
okay. It'd be nice
Which,
if they could write something too.
okay, well, I can ask. I mean, to be honest with you, that was a friend of mine
It's
who
okay.
works there, and he would be more than happy to I'm sure he would be able to say something like a quote or something. And
Yes.
I don't know where legality fall, like the
Oh,
legalness falls if he quotes his name as an Enbridge employee, if he's allowed to do that.
well, he doesn't have to say the name of the company. He can you can just write his first name and first initial of his last name. And that way
Sure,
there's no infringement on,
sure.
somebody's trademarks.
Yeah, I've reached out to a gas company that I used to work for. I had pretty good ties with these people, and I asked them if I could come in and we can, like, if they were going to be planning to do a kill, which I'm not going to get into what that is, but it's a process being done where I could let them use it. They can see what it does, and I can take pictures while I'm doing it, and maybe
Okay.
even a video. And it's just it's hard to get people to do something that's out of their normal. They kind of got to go out of their way to say yes. And it's tough because these are people that I know. I kind of, I don't know. I kind of put them on the hot seat, like, hey, can you gonna let me do this or what? I was there for you, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get to that point where I can actually have this being used in a field where I can take a picture and do the videos.
Right.
Are your decision makers like CEOs, or are they safety managers? Who are you targeting?
It would be ultimately it'd be a procurement officer. I've tried reaching out directly to safety because that's who I
feel
thought.
like I feel like procurement is gonna try to block everything. If you can get safety on board, then safety can push it through probably
Yeah.
their procurement a little bit better. And then with safety, you can go I know there's tons of safety conventions. They have LinkedIn has tons of, safety groups and things like that. So I don't know if maybe that would be something that you could sort of focus on or maybe look at.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a great idea. Reaching out directly. I talked to some safety people, but I'm thinking to reach out to through LinkedIn and just throwing it out there. Like,
Yeah.
I've talked to some specific safety groups. For instance, I had a connect with NSTAR, which is the natural gas company that it pretty much controls Anchorage, Alaska. And I thought everything was going great. I was talking to this guy, and he mentioned that they purge with nitrogen. They don't purge with oxygen, which is true. It's very much true. But they also purge with oxygen, but he wasn't familiar with it. And I was trying to hang on to it, and then he just stopped all contact.
Yeah.
I
worked for a staffing firm that did oil, gas, and utilities for 13 years. I was with them. And I know, like, the safety department, if they bought into something, if you could hook them in, they would go to their CEO and they would push for it and they would fight for it. I think they're easier to get hold of. They're a lot easier to reach than a CEO or somebody higher up the chain. You don't want a safety specialist or a coordinator. You'd probably want a manager or a director. But, and I know, like, down here, I work in the refineries and all down here. I'm sure that all of those guys have some sort of meetings that they go to or some sort of club that they belong to. If you could attend or go to something like that and get in front of them, maybe you would have, an opportunity. I don't know.
I totally agree.
Wow, she's your connection.
Yeah. And in all reality,
And oil and gas is so tough. Especially right now. I was in it for 13 years and I'm glad to be out of it. But I feel like if you can get in with some safety folks, maybe even safety consultants, you know, things like that. I know for me, HR, I've done HR, and we had, you know, local HR meetings and local HR chapters. And if you attend one of those, you know, you make connections with people there, and they have lunches and things like that. So I'm just thinking of things like that. If there are clubs that you can join,
Sure.
you know, I know down here, you know, they have engineers have all their little clubs that they do, and the safety folks, I'm sure they have little safety groups and safety meetings that they go to. If you could join one of those, attend those lunches or those whatever. I mean, it's going to be harder now with COVID because you're not going to get that face to face, but then you could start making connections with people, get in front of people.
Right. I totally agree with you.
I
I
want to
think she
show
might have
you,
got cut off.
I want to show you all something as you're doing your market research. Okay, so what I did, since we were talking about oil and gas and safety, I typed in the hashtag. Okay, I just want to see the numbers. So this is Yahoo. I actually wanted Google. See if you can get to the Google one. But at the very bottom of this search engine, it'll give you a number. This is what you're looking for, all right? So under Google, there are 60 million results for oil and safety in Instagram, okay? Let me see if I can get it on Google. The reason you want this is because you want those keywords, because that's going to help raise your awareness. Okay, you need to know what platforms everybody's on. So this is still I need to get out of this search engine, see if we can go to Google, hashtag oil and gas. How about safety? Safety, oil and gas industry. Okay, we're still in the wrong search engine. Anyway, the numbers are going to show up either at the very bottom or at the very top. Like when it starts showing like 1 million to 1 billion in the results, then that's one of the ways to raise your awareness is by using those keywords. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I usually use Firefox for this. Let me see if I can get that to work. You'll do the same thing for your respective industries, right? Okay, so I want safety, oil and gas. So this is right here. This is the Google.
That's gassed.
Gas. Okay. It probably would have
It
fixed
would have
it
worked
for me.
anyway.
So this one's probably a little too specific. 116,000 results. What if I just got rid of the hashtag and see what it brings up? Okay, 1 million results. All right. So the reason I was doing this was because where was your picture? This one? Don't risk putting air into a live gas line. I can see all sorts of funny videos of people putting air into a live gas line, and you can show funny results of what could happen.
Yeah.
Videos like that will bump you up because everybody will share it. Okay, things like what not to do. This is what happens when you do this. That's why you need the safety air mover. All you want to do right now is just drive up your rankings in the search engine. Okay, and then this will start showing up on everybody's feeds, including those decision makers. So by the time you've like actually been able to schedule a meeting with them, they've already had a good laugh. They know that, you know, this could be something that's good for them. Does that make sense?
Where would you put that?
I would put it on YouTube. I would definitely put it on Facebook.
Just like a video you're talking about?
Yeah, funny safety videos, because then the safety officers will start picking it up and sharing it. And just to the welders, the people who actually work in your industry, because they'll think it's funny because they've made those mistakes.
Right.
All right. Okay, so
Jack had messaged me, and he had kind of said the same thing, you know, about using a comical relief. I was hesitant to go that route because of the severity of this tool can save a life. I mean, it's
that's tricky with safety. see.
Find a way to do it that, okay, so Jack is actually very good because that's what
Oh,
he does.
Yeah, he's given me a lot of good. I've been really grateful for the stuff he's said to me.
But you'd be surprised at what people share. So anyway, when you're dealing with the safety officers, you would be putting on a different front. Right now, you just want to show that you have a
Sure.
great product and to avoid doing certain things.
Okay.
Your wife is the creative one, right? She can help you design some of this stuff.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of free
Yes.
platforms, right? Okay, let me see. Oh goodness, it's all in the e-learning industry. There's a bunch of free platforms where you can design. You can get like stock images for free.
Yeah. Well, she know. I mean, that's what
she can
she
do
does.
that. Okay, so use your best judgment when you are selling, because people buy on emotion. That's when you can bring out the stories of, this is how this product saved somebody's life or whatever, or this is how it decreases the cost to your company in terms of whatever is important to them. But just for that awareness stage, that there's a tool that can prevent these things from happening, you need content.
Okay.
Short, funny videos, memes, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is what would go here for your awareness in your customer journey. Okay, this is all dependent on your industry. And then by the time you get into that consideration stage, it's the value that you offer versus the competitor. What value do you offer? And then you would have to come up with some sort of marketing thing. Okay, so for like Heather, so we have Heather E and Heather H. So for Heather E, she has those really cool schoolies. It's a converted school bus. So for her, she could like do something that shows, I don't know, somebody on here could answer this better. For her awareness stage, I mean, she would be marketing to people who also look at the tiny homes. And then for the consideration stage is, do you really want to be stuck in this big RV, or do you want the freedom and the mobility to be in a transformed school bus? That's what she does. Okay.
Business.
Did you say something, Oakwell?
Yes. What is the business you're referring to?
Oh, for Heather E's. She transforms school buses into, they're not RVs, but they're living spaces. They're mobile. It's cheaper than buying an RV, but they're more affordable. And her market is similar to the one where people buy the tiny homes. Okay, so that's what you're also looking for when you're doing this research. What is a similar market that I'm trying to target, if that makes sense? So like for Heather's, she does the DISC consulting. So that's all the, they're not just personality tests, but she would also market to people who probably like purchase the Gallup Strengths Finders, all that stuff. It's basically, she's marketing to HR people and decision makers, CEOs, people who hire others, because that's going to be important for them is that fit between the new hire and the culture or the organization. So study your indirect competitors as well, and that'll give you a lot of this information. How, just look at their marketing. Where are they marketing? It could be on LinkedIn. Okay, and then how are they getting people to switch? That's the big thing, because if you're new and you're not tested, how do you get those people to want to even consider you? And that's where testimonials come in. Okay, so for Joshua, honestly, if you have a trade school near you, because that's a captive audience with those students, see if you can get one of those instructors to test out your product. Because what if you get that big order from one of those oil and gas companies, how do you know that you haven't, how do you know what could go wrong with that product if it hasn't been tested? Okay, we've made a lot of mistakes rolling out workbooks, and we've had to fix manuscripts. Like, thank goodness I didn't pay for some of the ISBN numbers, all the copyright stuff, because I knew when we did this that there were a lot of mistakes in there. Okay, so after we rolled it out and the kids and their parents went through it, we fixed it, and now I can go and do all that before we start marketing to the school districts. Like, if somebody if I had gotten a big order from a school district and then we had to go through and recall all the mistakes, all the workbooks with the mistakes on them, how much would I have lost on that? Okay, so go ahead and get your products and services tested on the smaller audiences first, so you can fix them before you are marketing to those bigger companies. Same thing with you, Heather. You could easily develop curriculum based on this, easily. Okay, especially with your experience in the oil and gas industry, because now you actually have that credibility of working in human resources, right? Is that what you're doing? Okay, there you go. That's what a lot of consultants do. They take their HR experience and develop books. Actually, yeah, there's like, I can see like 4 or 5 people who are doing what you are trying to do now. They're certified coaches with Gallup's Gallup Strength Finders. They're doing more than one, not just Gallup, but also Colby. And they're doing online workshops and everything else. Okay, so Shamanda, you should be doing the same thing, but for your different market, which is youth. Okay, and then Ogwo can do his, not just the retail selling of the stuff, but those health fairs. Why certain foods will lower your blood pressure. Cinnamon is so good for diabetes. It's cheap. Here's how you add it to your cooking. And he'll be at his own store giving you product demonstrations. Does that make sense? Okay, that can be right here in the consideration stage or in the decision stage. Okay, so these are activities that will help move them along. And then you just keep going down and keep filling this in. So a lot of this is so academic.
Hey, Sandra,
Uh-huh.
before you, so that, like that chart that you just, that was up there, as far as doing this homework assignment, are all those supposed to be filled in?
You don't have to.
All right.
Yeah, please don't, because then I'll feel guilty if I don't read it. Please don't fill it all in. Fill in the stuff that's important. Yes, it is important. It's all important because you're going to be handing this to somebody else. This is what my customer is feeling. These are the words they're using. These are the keywords that they're typing in on Instagram to see how they can get their pain resolved. So that's why I was showing you those keyword searches. For this weekend, for this one assignment, fill in what you can. And as you keep going on, with your business, then I would actually use Excel and track those keywords, because I can guarantee when you start handing this off to someone, they're not going to get it right, because you all are in specialty niches that they don't understand unless they're part of your market. Okay, because then they can't automatically generate all the right words that will appeal to your buyer. But if it's on here, if it's on Excel, and you have all the numbers next to it of people who are searching for this, and then you narrow it down even further into how to lower your glucose with cooking, spices that lower your glucose with cooking, the right disc profile for list the position for a COO. Okay, that's what you definitely want to write down. But if you turn this in like half done to me by Sunday, I'm going to give you full credit. And if I know the industry well enough, I'll tell you what other people are doing as far as best practices. Does that help? Okay. I know the last last class was this took some of them like 2 to 3 weeks to finish, and some of them who were sick during the entire course, we just did it orally. and they still passed and they graduated and they're working their businesses. So it's just fine. We want you all to graduate and be successful. Don't worry about this one assignment.
So this right now this will give us full credit for this assignment. I hear you.
Yeah, let's have this discussion. Yeah, I want to explain this. The QL means qualified lead. I forgot what the M stands for. Probably most qualified, but anyway, what you're doing is moving them down your sales funnel. Okay, so somebody who is a stranger to you, but they're looking for your product, just kind of fill it in with adjectives. What are they thinking? Who are they looking for or talking to? Where are they finding their information? If it's a business, it's like for Josh, and for Heather R, it's going to be LinkedIn. For Heather Erickson, is going to be something recreational, or maybe even, gosh, your industry is so visual. So travel, recreational, and then the residential because of the tiny living. Okay, and then Shamanda is all youth, nonprofit, activism, you know, the social stuff. So that would be probably more your community, faith-based. That's it, faith-based, and my goodness.
What is subscriber lead?
Say that again.
Subscriber.
Okay, so the subscriber lead is somebody who's going to opt into your newsletter or follow you on Facebook, a follower. Yeah, for you it would be Facebook, Ogwo, or Instagram. Like maybe you're going to have a 10% off special, or 20% off one item special. You're going to post it on one of the social media platforms, and then they're all going to show up that day. So that would be subscriber lead. And then once they're a qualified lead, you probably a rewards program, okay, to get them to get to over here somewhere. It's pretty much the same across the industry, depending on what you do. So if it's B2C, business to consumer, promotions, rewards programs, what else? That kind of stuff. B2B. Oh goodness, the activities, I'm sure this is all online somewhere. White papers, referrals. What other activities? And you can type it into the chat room, or you can just say it out loud.
I'd just like to add, I mean, this is just a suggestion, but getting in connection with I believe it's Uber Eats or something, or like your Grubhub, that someone can go to that platform and order stuff from you, where a driver comes, picks it up, and takes it to them.
Very good. Yeah, Ogo, since your group might have some mobility issues, you're going to want some creative solutions. So they can order it online, but how does it get to them? This is where you all have an advantage. Because you're so small, you can be agile. You don't have to try and clear this with other people, and you can find creative ways to meet the needs of your consumers. And that's what moves them from stranger to deal. Okay. All right. Okay. So what can we do to expedite this process? These are more of the tangible activities, and it really depends on what your customers want. So just keep talking to people, offer them something. If you answer my questions, I will put your name in for a drawing for a Visa gift card for whatever, $50, whatever you can offer at this point. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one just to look. Okay, this is future state. It's supposed to compare to what you're doing now, but if you don't even have a current state, this is the current state, you're not going to have a future state. So fill in one. You don't have to fill in both. In the last class, people actually looked up different templates because they wanted to do it in Microsoft Word, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Some of them just sent me what they were already using, and that's just as good too. They actually developed a process on Excel where they could track their entire client journey from that first phone call to whenever they engaged them, or, you know, just kept track of the follow-up. Okay, I think we talked about that last night with Tommy Karam. Okay.
With that last slide, what are the different steps? I just don't get it.
Okay. All right, let me see the difference between this current state and future state. Honestly, it's whatever you think it is for your particular industry. Let's walk through yours. We'll walk through a few of the different. Everybody here is in a different industry, so this will work out. So for you, Joshua, let's go ahead. What is the customer thinking or feeling? So at this point, what are they worried about? Safety, or is this what's the first thing in somebody's mind as they're getting ready to work on their job?
Well, they're worried about keeping hazardous gas away from them.
Okay.
Flammable gas, even.
Okay. And then what's the next thing they would do to keep themselves safe?
Quit. Go to work for someone in a different industry.
Do they do safety checks?
Yeah, there are. I don't know, being a welder and working on tie-ins and stuff, it seems like the safety guys aren't around when it's time to do the type of work where they need this tool. It's just it's a wild thing to think about. The welding and who are using this tool, it's kind of like they leave it in a gray area.
Maybe you can, well, if you do something that helps with this, then you will disrupt that industry.
Right.
Okay.
I have a question though. So this is talking about thinking or feeling, but safety check is an action, which is actually like the next, on the next column. That's why.
Thinks about
What to do, what the solution.
Thinks about solution. Okay. Anyway, whatever the thought process is, this is actually a workflow. So whatever the workflow is, like, because clearly whatever they're thinking or feeling is going to drive these actions. So if you map that out for all of you, then you'll be able to list the actual activity below it. Okay, so this is something we did. I was going to go into electronic health records, and this is something that we had to do before we would roll out software, is follow people around, map out how they did things. That was the workflow, that was the current state, and then figure out how they were going to implement their current solutions with the new software, which would be the future state. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing, but with your different products or services. So, and I'll go had a great point where the actual activity goes in the second row. Okay. Okay, so what is the customer's touch point with the business? So the step one is they're worried about the gases. So they're probably thinking about the safety checks. Just try and get them to align. You might not be able to figure it all out this weekend, but you will as you keep going through this, because everything that you write down here will help you produce all your marketing content, and it will also help you to iterate your products and services.
Okay. I think I got it. You don't have to dwell on this too much. When I was originally looking at this, I'm thinking that I have to fill this all in. I was thinking that there was like steps that I was supposed to know. Like step 1 is this, step 2 is this, and I was just trying to fill this out correctly, and it was very confusing for me.
Yeah.
So, did you say like they don't all have to be filled in? It's just kind of what you feel. I'm okay with that.
Okay, good. Very good.
So I don't want you don't have to dwell on it too much, Sandra.
Okay, good. And some people, some of your classmates from the other class would only do the 3 steps. So, I mean, if that's how they're feeling, that's fine. All right. Okay. So for this, I mean, if they've made it through another day, great. Just the last thing is, what changes will you make, especially if you're already in business, like Shamanda's already in business. Okay. Okay. So honestly, I wouldn't fill out both of these. Do the best you can. This one would be good because you want to know why customers are leaving. Okay. Just at least fill in the top portion and then what it is that you can do to keep them from going over to your competitors. It's usually because of, it's exactly what Tommy mentioned last night, a failure in the service. All right. So for you, Joshua, definitely, is your product working? What's your quality control process? And then returns, your guarantees and your returns, that should be in here. And then it can go on your website. Okay, we offer a 60-day guarantee, no questions asked. We warranty the product for 1 year, whatever it is that works for you. What's the last part? Okay, yeah, this you'll need. The support after the sale. Heather R, like once, you know, they've used your, the disc, they'll probably want more training and consulting, like what packages do you offer after after you've helped us evaluate, you know, potential hires, and then how do we deal with these issues afterwards? So that could be part of when you're doing your revenue drivers. They're like your service packages. Just figure out different ones that you can offer, you know, and then pricing. Shamanda, you'll want like follow-up events, online classes. You want to keep them coming back, since what is it? Is it like 80% of your customers come from 80% of your repeat business only comes from 20% of your customers. So that's why this becomes important. Okay, so does that answer your questions about this part? Okay, good. Does anyone have any other questions about anything?
Yeah. And it's not really a question, but I just wanted to comment. Now that I start recognizing who's in here, Heather Erickson is doing the schoolie bus.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I just wanted to suggest when you're to the point where you want to market, and maybe you already are, I don't know, but like the funny videos that Sandra was talking about earlier for me to utilize, I think this would be a great time. Like your business could utilize that very well, with the type of people out there that would purchase your product. I think it would. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of Dr. Squatch on Facebook, but it's like a soap, and it's just, if you check it out, it's called Dr. Squatch, and it's the way he presents his product. It just makes you want to buy it.
Those are probably the only commercials that I watch in their entirety. And they're like
right.
It's long.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They throw axes at each other.
Right, just crazy stuff.
Oh, Squatch, SQUATCH. Is
Yep,
this it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness. Yeah, y'all can. That would be
I mean,
funny.
I mean, it's soap, you know. soap's been around for how many years, and they're like, they got this new twist to it, and they're running with it, and they're doing great.
Oh, that's great. Good. Hi, Daniel. Do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. We've gone through the assignment basically, but it has been recorded, so you can just go through it at your leisure.
Yeah, because I have no idea what you're talking about with the, is that customer mapping?
Oh, the customer mapping. Are you talking about the actual assignment, or lean in closer to your mic?
Yeah, I'm working on getting a new one. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit better. Okay. Heather, you have your hand up, or?
Would you mind just touching base a little bit on that website that we did last week? The NC, like NCIS or something,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and how to best research through there?
You want to know specifically how to use the website more for your own advantage?
Pretty much, if you don't mind, because I was getting out like the numbers in the industry and everything, but I wasn't sure like the next step to go to after that.
Well, once you actually get to here's the thing with all of you, you're all competing in several overlapping industries. Honestly, all I really use this for is just to find the NAICS. So, okay. Well, I know some industries better than others, like the 541 series. That's Heather Royer. That's all the training and the specialty services. I honestly don't really use this website except to just get the codes, but what you will use the codes for are, once you have these codes, you can actually use them to request industry reports.
Hey, can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I had trouble finding the manufacturer of a specialty tool when I was looking at mine. And you can, if you, there's a place to contact, and this is gonna be crazy because I talk about Dr. Squatch, but there's a Dr. Nakes out there, I swear to God.
This went right here. Is that
I can't see because I think my camera's over him. Yeah, or whatever. You're gonna contact Dr. Nakes and just tell them, like, write in what you do, and they'll contact you within like a day, maybe 2 days at the most. I think it was the next day I heard something back, and they had found it.
really?
So that's a really good tool to utilize.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay. So you'll use this to get industry reports. You'll also list it on your capability statement. There are a lot of uses for these codes. And of course, I don't know why it's escaping me right now. It's also for your taxes. There's like a little spot where you have to list your primary NAICS. 1, 2, 3 industry reports. And what was the other thing? Oh, for the opportunities on for contracting opportunities. Sometimes they'll list them by the actual NAICS code. Okay, so Heather, Daniel, Shamanda, and Joshua. Okay, that's why you need as many alternate NAICS as possible. I think when you are registering for the GSA schedule, and there was another, it used to be called FedBid, I think it has a different name now. You'll, I think you'll list your NAICS codes there as well, because that's how people will look you up. That as well as the product or service, okay? So that didn't really answer your question, Heather, about how to use the website, but that's what the use is for the actual NAICS codes.
No, that was good. I appreciate it because I didn't know what the NAICS codes were for, or if there was something else I needed to do with the website. But that actually answered a lot of my questions, gave me direction on it. So I appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, this is really frustrating. And when we do the VWise classes, I swear I get like 20 questions about, am I in the right NAICS code? Don't get hung up on this because sometimes your primary NAICS can change. The best way to do this is to find your direct competitor, the closest one, and see what NAICS code they're using. Okay, if I had followed the instructions on the nuts and bolts guide that they usually send as part of EBV, I wouldn't have wasted an entire year. So just do that, and that's the fastest way to figure out if you're in the right, if you're using the right NAICS. Mostly because you need those reports to help you figure out your competitive landscape. Okay, good. Are there any other questions? Daniel, I'm sorry that we've already finished covering this part. There's no right or wrong. Honestly, if you fill half of it out, I'll be happy with that. Just do whatever whatever you can actually fill out. Some of this is like what you would hand to a professional marketer. Okay, because you're not gonna be able to do everything in your venture. You want to be able to pass things off to someone else. That's why you want to get deep down into what they're thinking or feeling, because once they have this information, they can easily develop content. It's just they don't know every industry out there. It becomes really difficult. And for you, Daniel, gosh, yours is such a personal business. And really what Tommy told you last night was right on. Just the connection that people feel with you as soon as they talk to you on the phone is what's going to trigger whether or not they want to buy from you. Okay. So some of this might not even apply to you, but go ahead and write it out anyway, because if you needed to hire more inspectors, let's say maybe you're getting more business than you can handle, all of this, what you write out will become part of your SOP. So when you're training somebody new, this is how we convert them from a stranger so that they'll want to continue to do business with us, to include realtors and bankers and everybody else. All right. That's how you can grow your team and grow your venture. What other questions do you all have for me? I don't want to keep everybody too long, but if you go to it, if you type in B plans, this one has the sample business plans. Okay, this will help you fill out the rest of your assignments. Actually, there's only one, but this assignment that we're doing now and then the economic model, those are the most important parts of your plan. Okay, and this will give you exactly the wording, what people are looking for when they're going through both your feasibility analysis as well as your business plan. Okay, this is the best way, is to have an example, and then you can just piece it together depending on whatever industry you're in. Okay, they're not going to have exactly the same as what you're doing, because what you are all doing is so unique. That's what gives you the competitive advantage. You're doing something new in your industry that can fill a need that the bigger companies can't. All right. So anyway,
my plan is available through the VBox for free.
Okay, good. And you don't have to pay for these. There's a lot of free ones out there. The SBDs.
They are absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, use the templates as much as you can, and then just and there's no such thing as plagiarizing with a business plan unless you don't change the words to match what you're doing. And I've seen those. People will just send me one of these templates. You need to actually fix it so that it meets your needs, or it's worthless, right? Okay, everybody's market size and their market is going to be different. That's why you want as much information as possible, and you want to put it on stuff like this so that you can give it off to your team and they know exactly what they're supposed to do, or you're wasting a lot of money because now you're helping them develop it ahead of time as you're going along. Okay, and then give away the stuff that you don't like doing. I don't like doing marketing. That's why I write it all out, but these are the words that my customers are using when they're looking up homeschool curriculum. But somebody who's not a homeschooler is not going to know that. Same thing with somebody who doesn't know anything about real estate. I don't know anything about real estate. Like when we needed a home inspector, they said, oh, this guy, he was a veteran. He's the hardest one. You don't want him. Of course, we ended up getting him, and it ended up working, being a blessing in disguise. So anyway, write things out, develop your processes so you can hand them off to somebody else. Even if you want to be a solopreneur, you're still not going to do everything. Okay, any more questions? Did I cover enough? All right.
Oh, no, I missed most of it.
This is recorded, so you can just go through it. And there's no right or wrong answer. Just put down whatever you can, okay? If you have any more questions before or after the course ends. Yes, Joshua?
I was trying to type to Daniel, but I was afraid you were going to close it down before I finished. But I contacted my local VBOC, which I don't have one in my area, but they will give you access to different third-party companies that will help you, and they will give you access to that live plan.
Can you share that in the Ask the Class forum for everybody else? Okay.
I did. Well, I just did it today.
I hope your classmates are reading those.
Well, it's tough if you don't notice. If you don't notice that somebody wrote something new, you don't check it.
Okay. Okay, good. Shamanda used Life Plan. Yeah, if you need to develop a really quick business plan.
Oh my God, I cannot believe how simple it was laid out and helpful.
And some of the, like when you actually go to your EBV program next year, I know that some of the universities gave you this as part of your graduation, where you actually got a subscription and you just customize your plan. Okay. I don't know all the resources you're going to get after this one. Okay. This was just to fill in the gap until you could go to the real EBV program. But when this ends, you'll still have access to the classroom for a year, and Deanna will have a separate webinar to let you guys know what resources will be available for you, okay? All right. Okay, I'm not going to keep you. If you still need to meet with me on Zoom anytime before or after the course ends, just reach out to me, okay? All right, keep up the good work. Here, let me stop the share. All right, keep up the good work, and I will see you either on the Blackboard classroom via or email or on Zoom, all right? We're in the home stretch, so hang in there. All right, thank you all for coming. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, guys.